Previously on NinjaGo. As Garmadon and Lloyd run into Hiroshi's labyrinth, the ninjas search out the Serpentine for answers on who the mysterious cloaked figure is. They are told an ancient story passed down through generations of Serpentine about the curse of the Golden Master. As the ninja face off against Cryptor's forces, the hooded figure reveals himself to be Pythor, captures Lloyd so he can drain his golden power.
Ninja! 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 Come on, we're gonna do it again. We just jump up, kick back, whip around and spin. Ninja! Jump up, kick back, whip around and spin.
Enter the Digiverse. All the power in NinjaGo City is still offline, save for Borg's office. Inside, using Pixel to power everything, Borg explains that with the hard drive retrieved from the basement, the ninja can begin the process of rebooting the system and purge Pythor's virus from the system. However, the virus has grown and expanded, meaning that the code will need to be guided to the source so the virus doesn't corrupt the individual strands located in the Technoblades. In order to do this, the ninja themselves will need to be put inside the Digiverse as a digital embodiment of the code. Of course, like any virtual reality, if you die inside, then you die in real life. Before the ninja can get started, the postman and his lackeys break into Borg Tower, demand that Borg share the power he has so they can defend themselves from the Nindroids. As the crazed citizens try and steal the power for themselves, everything begins to glow and the city begins to brighten. Cryptor has started the transference of draining Lloyd of his golden power. Inside the Robo-Dragon, Lloyd shudders inside a big tank as his energy is drained from him. Cryptor and Pythor watch as the big battery shows a slowly growing power level.
Soon we shall have enough golden energy to begin the Prime Directive.
Yes, we shall. Ever since the Serpentine Wars, I've been building to this moment. The moment when the Golden Master arrives to take revenge on the filthy land dwellers for segregating us and keeping us locked away. The Great Devourer did its job to get you and your father ready for the final battle, boy. Now with your golden power at my side, nothing will stop me from conquering NinjaGo.
We still need to secure the hard drive. Leaving it behind was an oversight.
I added some defensive measures to the virus before we set out to capture Lloyd. They will repel the Technoblade's powers long enough for us to retrieve it again. Next stop, NinjaGo City. At Borg Tower, Pixel and Borg begin to isolate their servers from Pythor's virus as an attack force of Nindroids arrives at the front door led by Evil Wu. The security doors go up, and the Nindroids begin sawing through. Up on the top floor, Borg has the ninja take their seats and walks them through the process. Copies of their conscious minds will be transported to the Digiverse, where they, the physical manifestations of the code that will reboot the system, must find their way to the source of the virus. However, while the code will reboot the system, if any single strand or ninja can't make it to the source, then they will be unable to wipe the virus. And since the virus controls the Digiverse, they're playing by someone else's rules. Borg activates the switch to send them in, and after lines of code flash across the screen, the ninja awake in the Digiverse. Back in the real world, the Nindroids break through the security doors and the postman and other citizens rush out to defend the tower. Back in the Robo-Dragon, which now rests on a building a few blocks away, Lloyd remembers the words of his father and how he who holds the power has a responsibility to protect it. Cryptor notices that Lloyd is having a moment of reflection.
What's he doing?
Attempting to resist. You're alone, Lloyd. Nobody can save you now. Back at Borg Tower, everything is so far so good. The vitals on the ninja are strong, and Pythor's antivirus hasn't detected them yet. However, Borg's robotic legs have reached the top of the building. In the Digiverse, the ninja try to figure out how to get down to the digital Borg Tower and realize that none of the regular rules apply. They can jump down the buildings and fly with ease as they learn to master the new world they've discovered. Speaking of discovered, Cryptor has discovered that the ninja are in the system, and it begins to swallow them like quicksand in the code of the Digiverse. The Nindroids make their way upstairs as Lloyd power is drained, and as Nian Borg to attempt to hold off his robotic legs. Pixel rewrites some of the code and saves the ninja from drowning in digits. Cryptor locks her out and addresses the ninja.
Just because my sister can change the rules doesn't mean that I can't play the same game.
Cryptor begins to turn the digital NinjaGo City on its head, causing the ninja to fall and grab onto anything that won't send them tumbling down into the digital world. They manage to fall into the building, and the scene fades to show that Evil Wu and the Nindroids have arrived on the same floor in the real world. Nia stands in their way, which causes the Nindroids to laugh. Wu readies himself for whatever she has up her sleeve, and soon the Samurai X armor comes crashing through the window and takes out the column of Ninjroids. Wu manages to dodge and heads for the door as Nia begins to throw the Ninjroids around like toys. Back in the Digiverse, the ninja figure out they can use their toys to get to the center of the virus and begin fighting through waves of digital Ninjroids and attack vehicles to get there. In the real world, Evil Wu arrives at the top of the tower via the stairs and tries to attack the defenseless ninja, but Pixel steps in to defend them as Borg is taken. In the Digiverse, the ninja reach the center of the virus and establish the reboot, but Cryptor has one last trick up his sleeve as digital versions of all the past NinjaGo villains, including the Overlord, stand in the way of the reboot signal. The only way to reboot the system is to complete the circuit, so the ninja begin to fight their old adversaries. In the real world, Wu bats Pixel away and goes for the Master Switch to keep the ninja in the Digiverse and kill their physical forms, but as he does so, a Ninjroid arrives in the room and knocks him away. The Ninjroid removes his hood and reveals himself to be Garmadon. Wu readies himself.
You won't fight.
I may have taken an oath not to fight, but when you took my son,
All bets are off.
Garmadon and Wu begin to fight and knock each other out the window to fight on the side of the building. Meanwhile, in the Digiverse, the ninja aren't able to get past their old foes, and Cryptor's voice comes out of the digital Lord Garmadon's body.
You think you can stop me? The power of the Golden Master is almost mine.
Back in the Robo Dragon, we can see that the battery is past 90% and climbing. This shall be the legacy of Lloyd the Golden Ninja, alone all his life, even at the end.
I am not alone!
Lloyd's words echo through the Digiverse, which Stain hears as he takes out Digital Samukai. Did anyone else hear that? It sounded like Lloyd! Of course, Lloyd's power is what runs the Digiverse. We can tap into it and override the virus ourselves. Zane begins to glow gold and takes out a legion of digital Skulkin. The other ninja do the same and make their way through the virus attacks with ease. On board the Robo Dragon, Pythor notices Cryptor grimacing. What's going on?
The ninja. They're breaking through.
Zane leaps through the digital air and reflects the reboot sequence off of him to Cole, who reflects it to Jay, who reflects it to Kai. Together, the four of them combine, complete the circuit, and the reboot of the system begins. All the tech in NinjaGo City returns to normal, and just as Wu is about to land a killing blow to Garmadon, his cybernetics turn off, ceasing its grip on him. Inside the Robo Dragon, Pythor flips a switch on Cryptor, disconnecting him from the Digiverse so he won't be rebooted.
The ninja rebooted the system. Too little too late. We have what we came for.
The battery's at 100% capacity. Then 101% capacity. Then 102% capacity. Pythor notices Lloyd is now deliberately giving up his power.
No, you're overloading the power core. That's the idea.
The battery flashes red and explodes, golden energy ripping through the Robo Dragon. Back at Borg Tower, the Ninjroids retreat as Nia waves them off victoriously and the ninja awake from their trip into the Digiverse. Wu, now back to normal, congratulates them, and Pixel confirms that the virus is free of the Digiverse. Garmadon inquires about his son, and an explosion is heard. Lloyd crawls out of the remains of the Robo Dragon a few blocks away. Zane pilots the Ninjroid gunship over, and the ninja jump out to get Lloyd away from the wreckage. Garmadon rushes to hug his son, where both marvel that they have survived their ordeal. Jay and Kai report that neither Cryptor or Pythor are accounted for, but that the battery is beyond repair. Wu remarks that the family is finally back together, and Pixel frowns at this. Zane comforts her, saying that they'll find Borg wherever he is, and when Cryptor is dealt with, everything will be over. Pixel smiles slightly and takes Zane's hand, telling him that not everything needs to be over. Down in the sewers below, Pythor and Cryptor stop for breath.
That blasted child has ruined everything. We lost the golden power. No, we didn't.
Cryptor leans over, clearly in pain, and his eyes flash gold. This episode, more than the previous episodes, is not bad when looked at by the bullet points, but when watched, it comes off as really bad. There's lots of little inconsistencies that add up to make a confusing episode. First off is the location of the Robo Dragon in relation to Wu, Pythor, and Cryptor. When we last saw it, Pythor and Wu have boarded it with Lloyd, and when we see it for the first time this episode, it's traveling to what we assume to be NinjaGo City. However, Lloyd and the transference chamber are the only things there, as Pythor and Wu have been dropped off at NinjaGo City to link up with Cryptor and his forces. So where's the Robo Dragon going then? The Dark Island? Chin's Island? If it doesn't matter where it's going, then why bother having it travel? Why not let it sit somewhere in NinjaGo City and view the battle as the transference occurs? Since it is traveling, and based on where we last saw it, then it leads the viewer to believe that it's heading to NinjaGo City, except that it can't because, as stated earlier, Wu and Pythor are already there and no longer on board. So not stopping to think about this leads to confusion, and that leads to stopping the episode to think about it, which leads to not actually watching the episode. Obviously, that's a problem, so I just had it where Cryptor and Pythor sat out the battle as Evil Wu handled everything. Then there's the reasoning for how and why the ninja entered the Digiverse. Rebooted builds up the mystery of Zane's power source and doesn't answer it. Presumably this is because the Hagmans figured they could answer it in a future season, but as of this writing, it still hasn't happened, so it remains a plot hole. As explained in the show, the power source is basically the energized protodermis of the NinjaGo universe, as it can do pretty much anything the plot demands. Borg states that the power source Zane and Pixel share can allow the ninja to enter the Digiverse directly and not need the corrupted hard drive. Okay, great, but how? A simple explanation that it's essentially the anti-overlord or something would suffice, but no explanation is ever given, and we're just expected to roll with it. Roll with it, I shall not. The question about where the hard drive is also a pressing question. The hard drive is never seen after Pythor's eel heist the previous episode, which means it's still in the basement of Borg Tower in Pythor's little lab. Borg and Pixel know something is down there because of their scanners the previous episode, so sending someone down to check it out would mean they discover the hard drive. This means the ninja could just hack it with the technoblades, and there's no need for this episode to happen at all, really. Explaining it by Pythor updating his antivirus isn't the best explanation, but it's better than the alternative. Also, Borg just inventing a way to get into the Digiverse makes sense because he's the head of a tech company. He's smart, so it's not outside the realm of possibility that he can build a way in, especially if he can put a temporal displacement alert on a smartwatch. As for changing the final fight with the one big digital overlord versus a bunch of digital versions of the former villains, I thought it'd be more visually interesting and would be a cheap reuse of assets. And of course, the really big change is the transference. Since the Overlord is not the villain of the season, the battery serves as a replacement for the need of a transference of power. That goes boom as Lloyd purposefully overloads it, foreshadowing maybe, but as we see at the end of the episode, Cryptor has absorbed it somehow, which will mean big things for the next couple episodes. Overall, this was an action-heavy episode, and most of the story arcs take a back seat here. Zane and Pixel get a few moments, but the Nia-J-Cole love triangle isn't referenced at all in this episode, even ignored to the point where near the end of the official episode, Jay and Cole high-five and seem happy in each other's presence even though they should be angry. Another reason why the whole thing is stupid, this show isn't even consistent with how the characters should be behaving about it. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode, and I'll see you guys next time.